my great people, thanks for coming back another week. If you're new, thanks for joining. Hopefully you enjoy it. Go back and look at some of the others, maybe of interest. Next job is an ATAG. Everyone says it differently, and that's having ignition problems really intermittently, but she's not had a service, so they won't do a warranty call until she has a service. So I'm going to do the strip service. I'm going to do the full one where we change the burner gaskets, electrodes and whatnot. Suspect the electrodes might fix that fault anyway, but at least it reinstates her warranty. Nothing else to report. Is anyone going to be at the tool fair in Alexandra Palace at the end of March? This should go up before then, I hope. If not, were you at tool fair? Yeah, let me know. Let's see what happens on this one. Subscribe. So unfortunately, it's not an exciting one here. Just replace the electrodes on this, which are nice and easy. Just that clip there, and then pull out. It's the old ones. So there we are. Couldn't film that one, annoyingly. The lady was on quite an important call in the same room. It was basically a stripped down service because the warranty wasn't valid on there at the moment because she hasn't had it serviced. So now it's been serviced and warranty reinstated. But in that service, I was replacing the electrodes anyway, which seems to be the problem because the fault was... What was the fault? Oh, just intermittent ignition fault. That's definitely being caused by those electrodes. So there, lugging around all my full service kit. So I'm tired. Next one is another electrodes issue. I think Glowworm Flexicom F1 fault. Electrodes were a bit knackered. It is sparking. I think it's not rectifying. It's igniting and cutting out, igniting and cutting out. So let's head to that and see what's going on. So this keeps going to F1, you reset, then you'll hear it. Put the mic there, I don't know if you'll hear it sparking. Sounds like flame rip, but I'll show you the electrodes in a sec. It's just two little nuts as well, which is all being checked. So here's the old electrodes, which don't look dissimilar from the new ones. Just a little bit cleaner, but the gap's the same and it is sparking. I think it's just not rectifying where something's leaked onto that. So this will be the tell. New electrodes are in. Let's see what happens. It's definitely not rectifying. So we're still getting the F1 fault. Now the electrodes have been replaced. So I've disconnected these leads here to check the igniter box. And with your multimeter on ohms, you are looking for never a good place to put your multimeter, is there? So between pins 1 and 4, you're looking for 1 mega ohm, about minus 10% allowance. I'm a little bit low on that still, because that'd be 900 roughly. And here you're looking at like 630, so we're all good between 2 and 3. But 1 and 4 is looking a bit low. So I'm going to put a new igniter box in there. I've checked the gas valve is opening up. I'm getting 24 standing pressure, dropping to 18 when it goes to light. The only other thing would be a gas valve reset, but pointing to that. So there we are. Obviously it's a bit noisy, but new igniter is in. And we are fired. We have liftoff. Success. So I have to be honest on that one. Diagnosed it kind of in a rush, which is always going to end badly, but hold my hands up. Should have probably checked the ignition box before doing the electrodes. But you live and you learn. We're all human. I know probably some of you seething that I changed them electrodes first, but yeah, helps you go through the process, I guess. Yeah, I was in a mad rush the first day I went there and booked up the electrodes, and yeah, that's all I could put it down to. So lesson learned from that is take your time, double check things. But anyway, lady's back up and running, and she's happy, and yeah, that's it. Next one is a filling loop. Customer contacted me. I actually told them previously. I went there for a service. The filling loop was letting by because they called out for a service and said like it's constantly overpressurizing. Found that the filling loop was letting by. It's an integral filling loop on a valent. So disconnected the hose, capped it off. Advised to get it replaced. Lo and behold, they didn't. And now they can't get the cap off to repressurize it. Now it needs repressurizing. Excuse me. A tiring day. And so, yeah, I've advised, look, I can come back, take the cap off, fill it up, but you're going to be in the same position in a few months' time or whenever it needs refilling. So better off just replacing the little filling loop valve. And they've agreed to it. So that's what you're going to see now. Really quick, nice, easy job. If only they were all like that, eh? So here we are. Here's the culprit. That filter's seen better days. When I came to service this, was I going to touch it? Absolutely not. That's actually a good view of it. But we whack the isolation off on this. It's pretty easy. It's just a push fit. This actual integral filling loop. So let's pull it out. New valve, new O-ring. A little bit of washing up liquid or silicone grease, whatever you prefer. I'll do this compression up first. Just makes it a lot easier. And that attaches to the flow pipe. Pop that in. It's always harder when you're filming. There's a little clip in there. Circlip, is this a circlip? Little clip anyway. Pull it out, make sure it doesn't pull. Perfect, there we go. Water back on. Let's fill up the system. Put the boiler into P06, just the best way to fill. I'm probably talking a bit faster than the video, but what can you do? On this, to get into installer mode, you have to reset and hold the plus button really quickly. Second time's a charm. When you get them flashing dots, then you know you're going into it. You can get your P codes, which are your test codes. So P01 is high rate, P02 is minimum low rate, and P06 opens up the mid position valve so you can fill it. So we're back at this one, changing the diverter valve. The boiler is letting by in comfort mode, basically. Turn the comfort mode off to prove it. Left it for a few days. Radiator stopped staying on all the time. So yeah, now we're back replacing that. Here we are, it's the brass one. So it should be a relatively easy swap, although when they got the larger plates for the big, I think this is an 837. Yeah, 837. It's always a bit more difficult, but we shall do it. it so much easier. Don't know why they don't do this anymore. Pretty sure they stopped supplying them. These are always a pain. Sometimes a little bit of silicone grease just helps keep them in place. Sometimes you're just lucky. Sometimes you're unlucky and they fall out. So there you have it, diverter valve was replaced. That one went back and forwards a little bit with a customer. So basically I was first called out. I can't remember whether I showed a video on this already, showing the diagnosis. It might have been a reel on my Instagram, or a story maybe. It was heating just on all the time. When I went there, found that the boiler was in comfort mode, so it's just constantly heating the hot water circuit, but it's also diverter valve's letting by. So obviously because the diverter valve is losing some of the heat down the heating circuit, the preheat's firing up even more as well, because the actual hot water circuit's never getting as hot, so it's just staying on all the time. The lady then went on a phone call, so I couldn't explain this to her properly. Sent her the job report, but she, I guess, didn't really get what I was trying to say in it. Couldn't get hold of her over the phone. And what I'd basically done is left it on test, turned it off of preheat in order to determine now, is the heating no longer getting hot? Then I got a message from her that night saying, I don't know what you've done, it's not fixed, it's still getting hot all the time, or it's still got hot tonight. But now this is maybe 4 or 5 hours after I left. It was in the evening, so I said, look, has this coincided with you, because I think there's 4 or 5 of them in the house, has this coincided with you all having showers and washing up and things like that? Obviously, because if that's the case, then that's why. And then she didn't reply. And a couple of days later she replied and said, it's randomly coming on hot all the time. I said, look, is it coinciding with the hot water being run? No reply. Anyways, I thought, well, let's go there with the diverter valve anyway. Went back, done diverter valve as you saw. So yeah, that's always one thing to check with things like that. Double check that the preheat's not on. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Again, another video with a few bits and pieces to show. There's not really been anything overly interesting and meaty as such at the moment, but yeah, makes the days go by, I guess. Let me know if there's anything you want to see. Again, let me know if anyone's going to be at the show in Alexandra Palace, at Tool Fair, or any other exhibitions coming up. Drop in the comments where you're going to be, if any. And yeah, hopefully see you next year. I've got a couple of videos to edit. One of them has no sound, so it's going to be like a whole voiceover, which is just long to do. But yeah, subscribe and get that unit light. That's quite a good light actually. It's the SLR 1750. It's really bright. 4 settings. So yeah, get one of them.
Wait a minute.
I've just found this absolute game changer, right? Utoku 4-in-1. I've had this a while. Normally, to service these, strip them out, get the burner out, you've got to take the expansion vessel out. That would have been pretty impossible here because the screws are there to get that out. But I found 10mm on the Utoku. I need to jiggle it about a bit to get on there. But look. That is a game changer. So grab one of them Supreme hand tools, Utoku 4-in-1. That'll make your life 10 times easier.